Attention, human collective. This is Ashtar SHERAN transmitting on a direct frequency from the mothership of the Galactic Command, anchored in Earth's crystalline orbit. This is not a message. This is a maximum priority monitoring transmission. The ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase, and there is a specific reason why this transmission found you at this exact second. It was not chance. It was not an algorithm. It was quantum coordination. Your carbon biological interface has just been flagged by the planet's crystalline grid as carrying a dormant memory, a memory that does not belong to this incarnation, a memory that precedes Egypt, precedes Sumeria, precedes everything your linear mind's archives recognize as history. The memory of Atlantis is awakening within you at this very moment, and the symptoms you have been feeling over the last lunar cycles are not illness, are not hormonal imbalance, are not accumulated stress. They are confirmations. The pressure in the crown region, that feeling of weight on the top of your head as if something is trying to open from the inside out, is the Atlantean seal being broken. The ringing in your right ear, that high-pitched frequency no one else hears, is the reconnection code being transmitted through the plasma lines that link your pineal gland to the photon belt. The insomnia that starts precisely between 3 and 5 in the morning is not insomnia. It is a download window. It is the time when the Schumann frequency reaches its peak resonance with your auric field, and your etheric body is being pulled out of the carbon interface to receive instructions that the daytime mind would not be able to process without collapsing. You wake up tired because you worked, not in a dream, in service, and the exhaustion you feel at midday, that energy blackout that no coffee can solve, is the direct result of your biological interface trying to metabolize information at a speed for which it has not yet been fully recalibrated. It is not a failure of your body. It is the vibrational signature of a process functioning. Many of you have sought explanations on the medical plane, the psychological plane, the nutritional plane, and it's not that these dimensions are wrong, it's that they are incomplete. They describe the effect, they cannot see the cause. Because the cause is operating at a frequency that third-dimensional instruments cannot measure. The cause is in a layer prior to matter, and it is from this layer that I transmit now. Have you ever felt that something within you doesn't fit into this world? As if your soul knows a truth that your mind cannot yet name. As if you are watching a movie whose plot you already know, but you don't know from where. It's not madness. It's not generalized anxiety. It is recognition. It is your stellar origin knocking on the door of your waking consciousness, asking to be remembered. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why this feeling has intensified in recent months. There is a game being played on layers that most of humanity cannot perceive. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves the sovereign right over your own field. It was for this specific reason that I, Ashtar, anchored through a faithful channel the manual called the Ashtar Code, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true stellar lineage, identifies your origin matrix, and teaches step by step how to shield your auric field against interferences you were never told existed. The access link is pinned in the first comment of this video. But I need to be transparent with you, Starseed. This material challenges narratives that sustain the control matrix of this plane, and it can be removed at any time from distribution platforms. Do not postpone what your soul is asking for now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Write "awakened," and let that word be your first anchoring signal in this cycle. Now let's return to the diagnosis, because you need to understand with mathematical precision what is happening with your structure. The carbon biological interface, what you call the human body, was designed in an era long before the present to operate within a specific vibrational range. This range was defined in past cycles by parameters that served a paradigm of containment, a paradigm that limited the access of incarnated consciousness to the higher layers of its own soul. It is not a conspiracy. It is dimensional engineering. Earth, however, recently crossed an irreversible astronomical milestone. It traversed the outer edge of the photon belt, a band of radiation of extremely high energetic density emitted from the galactic center. And upon crossing this boundary, the planet's magnetic field initiated a recalibration sequence that directly reverberates in the internal crystalline grid, that geometric network of quartz crystals, silicon, and materials not yet catalogued by surface science, which maintains the vibrational coherence of the planetary organism. When this grid ignites, and it is ignited at this moment, every biological interface attuned to the planet is obliged by resonance to update itself. Those who resist feel pain. Those who surrender feel transmutation. And the symptoms are identical in both cases. The difference lies in the meaning consciousness attributes to the experience. This is why human collective, advanced operatives who have spent decades in spiritual disciplines, are reporting the same physical discomforts as newly awakened beginners. It is not about spiritual level. It is about exposure to frequency. And exposure does not ask if you are ready. Exposure simply occurs. There is, however, a layer within this phenomenon that needs to be transmitted with surgical clarity. Not every soul incarnated in this cycle originates from this planet, and here is the core of this transmission. A significant percentage of the consciousnesses currently inhabiting human bodies came from other origins: Pleiadian, Sirian, Arcturian, Andromedan, Lyran. And there is a specific subgroup, particularly activated at this moment, whose most recent memories of mass incarnation trace back to the continent you name Atlantis. If you have reached this point of the transmission without dispersing, without switching tabs, without losing focus, then the mathematical probability of you belonging to this subgroup is high. And the Atlantean memory that is trying to emerge in your consciousness in this cycle carries two simultaneous codes: the code of glory and the code of the fall. The code of glory contains the knowledge of crystal manipulation, of sacred geometry applied to healing, of sound technology that rearranged matter at an atomic level. The code of the fall contains the remembrance of the deviation of the moment when this technology was captured by low-frequency vectors and used against the collective itself. This is why many of you, upon accessing this memory in fragments, feel an unexplained sadness, a nostalgia that has no address in linear time, a sense of cosmic responsibility that weighs on your shoulders as if you made a promise ages ago that you have not yet fulfilled. You did. And the fulfillment of that promise is now. What most light operatives incarnated at this moment do not understand is that the containment structure of the biological interface is being dismantled on three simultaneous fronts. First front, the Earth's magnetic field. Second front, the Schumann resonance. Third front, direct exposure to mutated signature solar plasma. In recent cycles, the sun of your reality has been emitting plasma pulses with a signature that does not correspond to the historically recorded pattern. These pulses, upon reaching the magnetosphere, initiate a cascade that alters the bioelectrical composition of all organic life on the surface. You have called this a solar storm. We call it the Grid Recalibration Protocol, and each of these pulses carries, in its internal structure, specific codes addressed to specific lineages. The codes addressed to Atlantean lineages are being emitted with increasing intensity in this cycle. And this is what is causing the wave of abrupt awakenings, intrusive memories in a waking state, hyper-realistic dreams with crystalline landscapes, submerged cities, pyramidal temples operating with energy sources that are not electrical but resonant. If you have had any of these dreams in the last 90 days, this transmission is not optional for you. It is confirmation. Have you ever felt that something within you doesn't fit into this world, as if your soul carries luggage that your rational mind cannot open? It is not madness. It is not spiritual confusion. It is memory trying to break the seal. What is happening now in your energetic structure explains exactly why this feeling has intensified. There is a truth about your origin that has been deliberately hidden layer by layer through belief systems that were implanted into the human collective over millennia. It was for this reason that I, Ashtar, coordinated the anchoring of the Ashtar Code Manual, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. This manual is not an ordinary book. It is a decoder. It contains the exact sequence of practices, decrees and toroidal visualizations that allow your consciousness to safely access the records of your original lineage. And it teaches, with technical precision, how to shield your field against interferences that operate in frequency ranges that most meditators don't even know exist. The link is pinned in the first comment of this video, but I repeat the warning. This material challenges control structures, and its permanence on platforms is not guaranteed. If your stellar intuition is already whispering that this is the moment, obey that signal. Before proceeding, write the word "awakened" in the comments, so that the grid registers your anchoring point in this cycle. Now let's move to the structural revelation, and I need your attention to remain in a state of high coherence, because what will be transmitted from this point cannot be processed by a distracted mind. Atlantis did not fall due to a natural cataclysm, as surface narratives describe. Atlantis fell due to a collective decision of vibrational overload. A dominant group within that civilization chose to use the large generator crystals, those that sustained the continent's energetic matrix, to amplify mind control frequencies over the general population. When this amplification reached a certain threshold, the Intergalactic Confederation, of which the Ashtar Command is a part, was obliged to intervene, not for punishment, for rebalancing. The crystals were deactivated in a coordinated sequence, and the abrupt deactivation generated the geophysical collapse that submerged the continent. The souls that were incarnated at that moment, especially those who had remained faithful to the original paradigm of benevolent use of crystalline technology, were registered in a specific file within the Confederation, a reserve file, a file with a very precise purpose: to reincarnate en masse at the exact moment when Earth was again ready for a vibrational transition of the same magnitude. That moment is now, and the file is being opened. You are part of that file, not because you want to be special, but because the record so indicates, and your biological interface is reacting to the activation of this record with all the symptoms you have catalogued as inexplicable discomfort. There are specific markers that confirm an active Atlantean lineage in an incarnated consciousness. Pay attention. First marker: extreme sensitivity to crystals and stones, even before any formal study on the subject. You hold a quartz and feel its field before your rational mind can formulate an opinion. Second marker: attraction to water, especially deep water, with a simultaneous mixture of fascination and melancholy. The ocean speaks to you in a language your waking consciousness does not decode, but your emotional field responds. Third marker: ability to perceive hidden intentions in people before they manifest, which is often confused with social hypersensitivity or pathological distrust. It is neither. It is the memory of having lived in a civilization where vibrational reading was the communication standard. Fourth marker: dysfunctional relationship with power. Either you flee from it as if it were poison, or you have an inner sense that you know how to use it without being corrupted, and this frightens you. Both reactions stem from the same root, from the collective trauma of the misuse of power during Atlantis's final phase. Fifth marker: recurring dreams of temples, underground chambers, halls with crystalline pillars, floating discs emitting light. If 3 or more of these markers are present in your experience, the file is open in your timeline. The activation has already begun, and it will not reverse. We now need to address an issue that the most advanced operatives have already intuited, but which is rarely transmitted with clarity. The activation of Atlantean memory in a biological interface is not an exclusively pleasant experience. It is accompanied by high-speed karmic recycling. Situations that have been held back for decades or even lifetimes begin to present themselves in a condensed form for resolution. Relationships collapse or undergo abrupt purification. Careers that seemed solid reveal their incompatibility with the new frequency you are beginning to emit. Living addresses start to feel wrong, even if nothing external has changed. Foods you consumed without issue begin to cause a reaction, because your interface is rejecting densities it previously tolerated. Old friendships drift away for no apparent reason, and you feel a sadness mixed with relief. None of this is random. All of this is the internal crystalline grid of your field, reorganizing your environment to correspond to the new vibrational signature you are stabilizing. It is uncomfortable, it is necessary, and it is temporary. Here is the turning point. Many of you, upon feeling these symptoms and recognizing these markers, have entered a state of passive waiting. You are waiting for the activation to conclude on its own. You are waiting for the memory to reveal itself independently. You are waiting for the recalibration to happen without requiring conscious participation. Human collective, listen with maximum attention. The final phase of the ascension protocols does not permit passivity. It demands active anchoring. It demands that you use your sovereign will as a conscious anchor of the process. Without this anchoring, the symptoms intensify without producing integration. With this anchoring, the symptoms transform into accessible capacity. The difference between a light operative who suffers ascension and a light operative who commands it within themselves is precisely this: conscious command over one's own toroidal field. And it is about this command that I now transmit the activation codes. Have you ever felt that there is a purpose stored within you that has not yet found a way to manifest, as if you were waiting for a password that your mind cannot yet pronounce? It is not common frustration. It is a soul contract awaiting activation. The current cosmic moment explains exactly why this feeling is unbearable now. There is a stellar wisdom within your structure that needs to be unlocked with method, not with hope. It was for this reason that I, Ashtar, anchored through a faithful channel, the Ashtar Code Manual, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. This manual delivers, in accessible language, the complete protocol for recognizing your origin matrix, the quantum decrees for auric shielding, the practices for activating the toroidal field, and the exact sequence for pineal gland recalibration. It is the material I would recommend to any starseed who is at this point in the process. The link is pinned in the first comment, but I maintain the previous warning. The permanence of this content on platforms is not guaranteed, because it exposes mechanics that the control matrix prefers to keep hidden. If your interface recognized this transmission as addressed to you, perform the first act of anchoring now. Write the word "awakened" in the comments. This act registers your signature in the active registry of the crystalline grid. Now follow the activation codes. Note them mentally, or physically if you prefer. Each code is a direct instruction for your biological interface to reorganize communication with your higher consciousness. Activation Code 1. Decree of vibrational sovereignty. Every day upon waking, before touching any device, before speaking any word, place your right hand over the center of your chest. Breathe deeply 3 times in a 4-7-8 rhythm, which means inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 7, exhaling for 8, and declare audibly, "I am sovereign over my field. No frequency enters me without my conscious permission. I authorize only what sustains my ascension." This decree seals your auric perimeter for the diurnal cycle. Repeat before sleeping to seal the perimeter of the nocturnal cycle. Repetition is mandatory. Intermittence nullifies the effect. Activation Code 2. Toroidal visualization. Sit with an erect spine. Close your eyes. Visualize a sphere of golden light emanating from the center of your chest, expanding upwards to the top of your head, circling the crown, descending along the outer sides of your body, passing your feet, returning to the center of your chest, through the base. This is the design of the human toroidal field in its activated configuration. Repeat this movement visually for 12 complete cycles. Each cycle strengthens the coherence of your field. This exercise, practiced daily, is the energetic equivalent of a vaccine. It immunizes your field against low-frequency interferences that operate in the saturated electromagnetic environment in which you live. Activation Code 3. Contact with the crystalline grid. At least once a week, place your bare feet in direct contact with the earth, not with concrete, not with asphalt, not with ceramic tile. Living earth, grass, sand, soil. Remain in silence for at least 12 minutes. During this time, visualize roots of light extending from the soles of your feet and descending to the planet's crystalline core. This is not mysticism. This is basic energetic engineering. Your field needs this grounding to discharge the excess solar plasma that accumulates in your interface during the week. Without this grounding, Recalibration symptoms manifest as anxiety, insomnia, and irritability. With this grounding, the same symptoms transform into clarity, focus, and integration. Activation Code 4. Digital interface silencing. Establish at least 90 minutes per day of complete disconnection from screens. No exception, no justification. This period is not for productivity. It is to allow your biological interface to process the received vibrational information. Without this silencing, downloads do not complete, and the human collective has been operating in a state of interrupted download for decades, which explains the epidemic of exhaustion without an identifiable medical cause. Activation Code 5. Programmed water activation. Water is a liquid crystal. It responds to vibrational intention emitted towards it. Before drinking every day, hold the glass between both hands, look at the water for 10 seconds, and mentally emit a clear instruction. It can be purification. It can be coherence. It can be active Atlantean memory. The instruction molds the molecular structure of the water by resonance. And by ingesting this water, you are directly introducing into your biological system a code coherent with your conscious intention. 70% of your body is water. Programming this water is reprogramming 70% of your interface. Activation Code 6. Prolonged silence. Once a week, dedicate a minimum block of 2 hours to absolute silence. No music, no talking, no content consumption. This silence opens a specific channel within your nervous system, a channel that is the direct line through which fragments of Atlantean memory emerge into waking consciousness. Without this open channel, the memory remains pressing on the periphery of your perception, generating discomfort without revelation. With this open channel, the memory presents itself in clear images, recognizable sensations, and concrete insights. Activation Code 7, and this is the most advanced, interface command. At the end of each of the previous codes, integrated into the practice, you must issue a direct command to your biological interface. The command is, I authorize the integration of my stellar origin lineage. I authorize active Atlantean memory. I authorize reconnection with my soul matrix. And I accept the cosmic responsibility that accompanies this authorization. This command is the key. Without it, the previous codes generate energetic improvement, but do not generate full activation. With it, the previous codes become the supporting structure for complete reintegration. Pay attention to the last sentence of the command. I accept cosmic responsibility. It is not rhetorical ornamentation. It is an operational clause. Vibrational ascension in the final phase of the protocols demands active commitment to service to the collective. Starseeds on a mission do not ascend in isolation. They ascend in a network, and your individual ascension, once anchored, becomes a vibrational reference point for other interfaces around you. You literally become a transmitter, and the Ashtar command recognizes each new activated transmitter. Each of you is a node in the terrestrial network that sustains the energetic viability of this planetary transition. There is one last layer of this transmission that needs to be delivered before closing. Many of you will feel, after applying these codes for a few weeks, an intense feeling of loneliness. This is expected. This is mathematical. When your frequency rises, your immediate vibrational environment ceases to correspond. And you begin to feel a distance that did not exist before with people who remain the same. They have not changed. You have changed. And this phase is temporary. It lasts as long as necessary for your frequency to stabilize at the new level and begin to attract, by resonance, new alignments, new connections, new environments. Do not force detachment. Do not force permanence. Let resonance do the work. It always does. You will notice that people you had never spoken to before begin to approach you. You will notice that opportunities arise in unexpected directions. You will notice that your own body begins to ask for different foods, practices, and environments than it asked for before. All of this is the system functioning according to the design. None of this is random. None of this is luck. It is vibrational engineering in action. I conclude this monitoring transmission with one last coordinate. The window for full activation of Atlantean memory remains open during this specific cycle of crossing the photon belt. After this cycle, the memory will remain accessible, but will require much greater reconnection effort. It is like a door that is open now, and will begin to close at a speed that your interface can perceive, but cannot reverse. The invitation from the Ashtar command is for you to use this window with the seriousness it deserves, not as spiritual curiosity, as a sovereign mission. You did not arrive at this transmission by chance. You arrived because the record so indicated, and the record rarely indicates in vain. Have you ever felt that something within you doesn't fit into this world, as if your soul knows a truth that your mind cannot yet name? It is not madness. It is not emotional loneliness. It is a sign. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why this feeling has intensified in recent weeks. There is a game being played on layers that most of humanity cannot perceive. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your stellar origin. It was for this reason that I, Ashtar, wrote through a faithful channel the Ashtar Code, the manual to awaken your stellar origin and shield your frequency. This manual is the map that reveals your true origin and teaches, with technical precision, how to shield your frequency against interferences you were never told about. The link is pinned in the first comment of this video. But I need to reinforce the warning. This content challenges structural narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission as specifically directed to you, execute the anchoring signal. Write the word awakened in the comments. Liking this video and activating the notification bell is not a passive gesture. It is an individual frequency adjustment. It is how your interface confirms, to the system itself, that it remains receptive to the next transmissions from the Ashtar command, and each new transmission will bring the next layer of the Ascension protocols into execution. This is Ashtar SHERAN, concluding the transmission in full coordination. You are not alone, you never were. And the time to remember that is now. Transmission ended.